afternoon and welcome back to Lyngseidet. It's 2 years later than the skiing trip, but I'm back at the church where Jan Baalsrud passed by before he went up the mountains where I'm going today. Please join me for this trip from Lyngseidet to Furuflaten. So Mr. Baalsrud met the German forces on his way down to Lyngseidet center in the early morning, but he fled up the hills. I'm following the marked hiking path to make life a bit easier, because I don't think there were this many trees and bushes at the winter in 1943. We are above the trees at our first goal for today, Skihytta, a little cabin in the mountainside just above the forest. Here we get the view above Lyngseidet itself, except most of the village is hidden behind the trees down there. We have a slightly better view of Lyngseidet. You can see the big ferry which goes across the Lyngen fjord. From here we're going up the mountain and in front of Golsevaret over to Kvalvikdalen. Jan Baalsrud came up the mountain from Lyngseidet behind me and continued in front of the mountain here. Since we are not fleeing from the enemy, we can take our time to look back at the view. So that's some of the Lyngen fjord. The Lyngen Alps continue north that way, past Golsevaret and south. Behind me is the way I just came. Down here is Kvalvika and the start of Kvalvikdalen, Kvalvik Valley. Right now I turned into the valley a bit high up, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to try to keep my elevation and go straight forward towards the little lake in the end of the valley. Back there. From the lake I'll turn up this other valley where I'll camp for the night somewhere. I found myself really high up in the mountainside. Seems a bit steep, but I found a nice sheep's path to follow. Now I'm just taking aim somewhere over here where the river seems a bit flat and a bit wide, so it's easier to cross. So I'll probably go down here somewhere. Here's the final resting place of a little reindeer. It was probably born this year and died or was killed by something this summer. As for me, I'm getting slightly lower down this hill. Now there are trees at my height over there. But I still got a bit to go this way. Down by the river, and the river looks rough. I look for a crossing first down here, but I'm prepared to have to walk all the way up to the little lake to cross it. I'll try to do it safely, so maybe I'll not film it this time. This looks almost doable, but the stream is so strong, I don't know if I'll risk it. And I'm not quite sure how deep it is. You can see the vibrations in the pool. I'll go a bit upstream and see. Here's a possible path, but if I go there, I'll have to cross another piece of the river as well. But I think that one is narrower, so I'll chance, I think. I got across. It was wet. It got up to the middle of my thighs. So it didn't help that I had folded up my pants. Now I'm wearing netting, wool netting, underwear. I will still wear my pants to dry them out with body heat. But most of the pants will not stay close to the body. And at the same time I was crossing the river, the sun went behind the mountain here. So I didn't get as warm as I could be. So we're leaving Golsevåget, Kvalvikdalen, behind and getting close to Dalvatnet, the lake in the valley. So I'm just rock hopping along the lakeside, but I'm heading for the sun. Even though the sun will probably disappear behind the same mountain in a few minutes here as well. But does this move I'm moving faster than the speed of light? Or just faster than the earth turns around? Anyway, I'm fast. I am continuing over there through that valley and almost down tonight. It's not really far. It looks like there's a lot of rocks. While I'm still going further today through this valley, I decided to stop and have my dinner break. It's getting a little bit late, so I better get my energy up before I'm going the last few kilometers. And it's so nice, even though the sun disappeared, this lake is nice and calm. There's no wind and no insects to speak of either. Dinner today is a simple freeze-dried meal, some pasta stuff. I'll boil some, maybe tea with the rest of the warm water. Make tea, not boil tea. Is this what is known as bouldering? Huge boulders for several hundred meters. I'm going that way. Anyway, soon to lake number 2. I'm thinking Jan Baalsrud crossed Kvalvikdalen much lower down than I did, because he could ski over the river on the snow. And then he would have come up this place on that side, rather than this bouldery landscape I climbed up since I visited the little lake. Anyway, both of us going through this narrow valley, and I look forward to show you where this leads us. Here I'm looking back at Gålsevaret and Rypdalen. I'm just at the border between Rypdalen and Bredalen. This is my goal for today. I'm going to camp on the other side of this lake before I enter the valley below tomorrow morning. So, I'm at the end of Bredalen and past the little lake. And yeah, I guess I should show you why it's called Bredalen, Glacier Valley. Not because there's a glacier here, but just out of the valley we see this. This mountain is Kveita, the second tallest mountain in the area. The tallest one, Jekkivari Glacier Mountain, is just behind this one. We'll see it tomorrow from down in the valley, I guess. And the glacier itself, I'll give you a better look at it when the sun shines the right way. The big irony in this trip is that I timed my trip so that I can be here tomorrow morning when the sun is shining on that side of the mountain and the glacier, and give you the proper view. Jan Baalsrud himself was probably snowblind at this time, and he fumbled his way down into this valley. I really appreciate my eyesight and that I can show you these views. So my camp for the night is the Jervenduk with the inflatable sleeping pad, sleeping bag liner with room for my jacket as a pillow, and no tent. I'll be really comfortable up here. There isn't supposed to rain, but this is waterproof anyway. And I even have room for my gear inside if I want to. So I'll get undressed inside here, but for now, good night. Good morning. I continue my trek in Jan Baalsrud's footprints. Here we get this view he probably didn't get. Kveita and the West Glacier, Vestbreen. I'll make my way down into the valley somewhere here. It's fairly steep, I think. It's about 6 a.m. It's a bit too early, but it was a cold night. My sleep system is good for survival, but not comfort. So, well, I have tested that one. Here we can see into Lyngsdalen, the Lyngen Valley. And we have other glaciers and tall peaks on the other side of the valley. This hill looks steep, but I think it's doable. It's less than 45 degrees, so I'll be fine. I'm making my way down the hill. It's steep, if you can see the profile. Rocks, trees, a little water here and there, but I'm getting closer to the flatter area. Safely down on the valley floor, and this hill was no joke. It's possible to get down even in winter, but then I wouldn't dare because of the risk of avalanche. Jan Baalsrud himself made his way somewhere down in this valley, and I guess he tried to get probably that way to get through the Lyngen Alps without risking civilians, and then get over to Sweden. But he was taken by an avalanche. I think they found his skis and some gear on this side of the valley. The other side from where I am. But he was mostly snowblind, and I have no idea where he thought he was. Down in the proper valley floor, almost down to 200 meters of elevation, we finally get a view of the tallest mountain in the area, Jekkivari, the glacier mountain. It's the one peaking up in the middle here, and we have more glaciers in the mountains nearby. As I make my way down the valley on the hiking paths, Jan Baalsrud, after being taken by an avalanche, was hurt, tired, and blind from the snow and sun. So he was searching for shelter and help. At one point, I think he found a boulder, which was so big he thought it was a house. Could have been one of these. But I found this cabin, Lyngseidet, which will serve for breakfast break for me. I started so early, I haven't eaten my breakfast yet. So while Jan Baalsrud made his way on skis in blind, tired and didn't see where he went, I know where I'm going, but I have to cross the river. Since I'm going to Grønvoll, where he luckily ended up. Just below Lyngseidet, I found these rapids with a bridge in the middle. It's a cool bridge. No safety nets. Just a little rope here. And here's this house-sized boulder. A good candidate for the one Jan Baalsrud thought was a house, and crawled underneath for some shelter. Finally, we're entering the lower part of Lyngsdalen, and our final stretch before we reach Grønvoll farm and get down to Furuflaten, where Jan was rowed to Hotel Savoy across the Lyngen fjord. And I can see the fjord again and the buildings down at Furuflaten. And I suspect Grønvoll farm is somewhere near these houses on this plateau. And here we are at Grønvoll farm. Like Jan Baalsrud, I hate to make a steep uphill. The hiking path went down to the river, so I followed the skiing path with the light coasts uphill. I'll just pass by this farm and get down to Furuflaten where we picked up today. And here we are finally at the bridge crossing the river. In the 12th man they made a big drama about having to sneak him under the bridge. In reality I think they just walked straight across with no German patrol just at the time. On the north side of the river there are still boats as it was back then, and from here they carried Jan Baalsrud into a boat and rowed him across the fjord to Revdalen. I can't really see in the sun, but somewhere along here is a cabin. They called it Hotel Savoy because it was the warmest place he had been for a while. Before they carried him up the mountain here. But that will be another episode. Or rather, an old episode made 2 years ago. But I have finished that trek as well. And that will be released after this one. So please watch both my old and new episodes if you haven't. And enjoy the show.